For most of us who've grown up watching Dragon Ball throughout the years, many of us were often wondering as to when we will ever see the day where Dragon Ball will showcase a new series in the form of an English dub as we continue our journey through the newly dubbed Dragon Ball Super with Dragon Ball Super Episode 2 as we mark another day on our calendars of Dragon Ball gracing our televisions once again. What's going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super Episode 2 English dub review entitled To the Promised Resort. Vegeta takes a family trip, leading into Dragon Ball Super's English dub Episode 3 next week. Now, a quick little reminder, guys, in case you guys are wondering what the schedule list is for the Dragon Ball Super English dub, you guys can go on ahead and tune into channel 61 if you guys have Spectrum or Time Warner Cable, where it is made available on Toonami or Cartoon Network at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and of course a replay of that same exact episode at 11:30 p.m. a few hours after that before Dragon Ball Kai. In terms of other platforms, of course, such as DirecTV and other networks, I'm not entirely too sure as to what channel that is on. You guys can also go on ahead and go to Funimation.com to see if they're streaming it live on there, and of course to see information on your local listings as to where you guys can go on ahead and watch the Dragon Ball Super English dub. And a quick plug before we begin, in case you guys are not following me at Twitter, make sure to go on ahead and follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming. The link will be down in the description below for all the latest in Dragon Ball news, information, and updates. And of course, if you guys want to keep notified of what's going on, make sure to follow me at Twitter. And of course, if you guys are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out, and don't forget to turn on notifications. That way you guys yourselves are notified of whenever a Dragon Ball discussion, review, or gameplay video is posted on this channel. Your feedback and of course your support really means a lot to me, so be sure to go on ahead and spread the word about the channel, guys. It really means a lot to me. So Sean Schimmel's portrayal of Son Goku has made its debut last week, with Christopher Sabat having to make his debut as Vegeta during this week's Dragon Ball Super episode, with Vegeta having to take Trunks and Bulma out for a vacation. Now, Vegeta normally doesn't take vacation time, guys, and in case you guys have missed my Dragon Ball Super Episode 2 review originally last year, I'm going to go ahead and link that video down below, and having to go back and revisit the original Dragon Ball Super Episode 2. Comment down below, guys, as to which episode you guys favor between Dragon Ball Super Episode 2's Japanese dub or the Dragon Ball Super Episode 2 English dub, because I feel as if many people are going to be a little confused with the way Vegeta's voice acting was done in this episode. Now, people are normally expecting Vegeta to have a very rugged and deep voice as he did back in the original Dragon Ball Z dub with Funimation, but that is no longer the case. I do believe that Christopher Sabat had done an amazing job portraying Vegeta in this episode. Now, what's funny to me is the fact that we get to see how right early in the beginning, we see how King Kai is driving around and he's talking about Goku. He's talking about how, you know, he's trying to speed it up and he's trying to drive his car around the planet, and he's kind of complaining about, you know, Goku, and Goku shows up, and with King Kai freaking out, he completely crashes his car directly into his house. And we see how King Kai talks about, "Don't pop up in front of me, you idiot." And Goku being Goku, he's treating King Kai like crap, and we see how King Kai is telling Goku not to treat this planet like a convenient roundabout and like as if it's like a gym or whatever. And we see how Goku's trying to apologize. And I also want to touch up on the animation, because people have been asking about the animation. It's very good to see how they're using high quality animation for this particular episode. I would have to say Blu-ray animation, which is good, because if you guys go back and revisit Dragon Ball Super early in the few episodes, we didn't get that good of a quality in terms of animation, especially with Dragon Ball Super Episode 5, in which I am dying to see how they're going to go on ahead and play that off. But needless to say, after the sequence between King Kai and Goku is over and done with, we see Vegeta, Bulma, and Trunks heading towards their resort. Now, it's pretty funny to see how Vegeta, and this is what I love about Vegeta's character, because you can't deny that they haven't improved Vegeta's character. We see how he's more of a family man. Normally, back in Dragon Ball Z, we wouldn't see Vegeta at the mall. We wouldn't see Vegeta eating squid, or at least getting pissed off at a squid for squirting in his face. That sounded completely wrong, right? But even with that being said, we see how Vegeta actually goes shopping with Trunks. He goes shopping with Bulma, and he has a flashback of when Trunks first became a Super Saiyan back in Dragon Ball Z, and we see how that memory pretty much sticks with Vegeta. He's eating ice cream for the very first time that we see him. We see Trunks is popping up playing with toys, and they're even on a little train as Trunks is commanding where the train is going. And obviously enough, you see based on Vegeta's demeanor that he doesn't want to be there. He does not want to be there with Trunks or Bulma. It's not like he hates them. He just wants to be off doing better things such as training, because that's what we know from Saiyans. Last week we get to see how Goku made the transition from having to be a working man to having to go train, and now the same thing with Vegeta. He's spending time with family until he goes off and trains later on. And I do have to be honest, one of my favorite moments was when the squid squirted on Vegeta, and his overall reaction, you can tell from his voice, from his demeanor, and Bulma trying to get him out of there was great. And again, I haven't felt like this in a very long time, especially having to grow up and watching the Dragon Ball Z Funimation dub on Toonami back when I was a kid, having to go back and look at this on my big screen TV and having to see Vegeta actually spend time with his family, spend time with Trunks, even having somewhat of an interaction is great. And on top of that, we get to see Lord Beerus and Whis on a planet where we see Beerus doing exactly what Beerus is put in the position of doing, and that's destroying. And obviously enough, there is no moral judgment as to why he does it. He is the god of destruction, and we see this giant blue dinosaurs roaming about, and we see how he's destroying everything, but that pales in comparison to when one of the fighters steps up to Whis, and we see how Whis is saying, "I'm sorry to interrupt you," and he begins to talk to this creature, and then that's when Whis says this dinosaur meat looks delicious, which ultimately provokes one of the angry barbarians that's on top of the dinosaur, with Whis telling the barbarian that Beerus gave him about 3 minutes to get the dinosaur meat. And I do have to say that both Jason Douglas and Ian Sinclair did a fantastic job on portraying both Beerus and Whis, very similar to Battle of Gods, very similar to Resurrection F, and this gets me hyped because this is going to lead us to upcoming episodes with Champa, with Goku Black as we progress on forward in the future, and having to make that comparison, the only time we've ever seen Beerus and Whis actually have an English dub voice actors behind them was when we saw Battle of Gods and Resurrection F, and now as we progress on forward, we're gonna get to see more interactions between Beerus and Champa, and I personally cannot wait for that. So we see how Beerus overall, he times Whis on trying to see if he can go ahead and quickly obtain the meat, and we see how Beerus gets ticked off and he's challenged by this barbarian, and obviously enough, we already know that he gets bored because he tells the creature, "You're boring," and he turns his own attack against them. And what I love about Beerus so much is in this episode, it brings me back to this because I haven't seen this in quite some time. Beerus literally drops a small light energy ball into the ground of that planet, and we get to see ultimately enough that little ball of energy, was the end result of the entire planet getting blown to bits, and you can actually kind of measure that, and it looked like it was the size of a ping pong. So that's how strong Beerus is in comparison, because last week we saw when he tapped his finger against the desk, he took away half an entire planet, and now he literally put something into the ground, a small energy ball, which resulted in the entire planet getting decimated. However, we get to see a figure standing, amongst the destruction, amongst the lights and the shadows. We see how Beerus is envisioning his rival, his grand rival, the person that he feels is going to rival him and beat his adversary, that obviously being Super Saiyan God Goku as we progress on forward, which I cannot wait for. But again, we see how Beerus has that, envisionment of seeing this person within the rubble, within the destruction. And eerily enough, what I've noticed as well, very similar to Gowasu and Zamasu, was Kibito Kai and the Elder Kai having tea, and we see how, they're discussing what's going on out there in the cosmos, and we see how, Elder Kai is calling, Kibito Kai an amateur, and that, this is really bad, it's a very bad situation, and how they're drinking tea, and, Kibito Kai actually brings up the idea, like, if the tea is bitter, and I love how they still keep the Japanese music behind this, because in case you guys are wondering about Bruce Falconer will not be back for Dragon Ball Super, unfortunately enough. A lot of us are fans of Bruce Falconer's music, and of course Scott Morgan, but you guys can't expect to see that. But even while Bruce Falconer will not be making his way towards Dragon Ball Super, I would have to say put your faith in the Sumitomo score, because as we progress on forward throughout the entire series, you're going to get to see how the music, I believe, is going to relate and make the show that much better. So we get to see towards the very end how the Kais are talking about destruction, and how they're talking about how Beerus has awoken after 39 years, and we see how Beerus talks about his name is ... and they're actually waiting upon, having to see what this is, and we see how Beerus is trying to remember the Super Saiyan God name. He keeps saying Super Saiyan God, and just the way Jason Douglas had portrayed and, spoke about the Super Saiyan God, name, it just brought back a lot of memories with Battle of Gods. So overall, guys, I wouldn't have to say that this was the best episode in all of existence, but certainly in comparison to the very first episode that we saw last week, I do have to say that this one was way more entertaining, a lot funnier, and we get to see more of Beerus and what he can do, especially for those who decided not to watch Dragon Ball Super's original Japanese dub and sub, but instead they want to go on ahead and watch the Dragon Ball Super English dub now. We get to see the first glimpse of what Beerus can do. Obviously, we already know what Beerus can do down the line, but this is the first for those who have now tuned into Dragon Ball Super, even the casual fans. So post your comments down below. What were your overall thoughts? Because I definitely prefer episode 2 over episode 1 just because of Vegeta. I do believe that obviously enough this was Vegeta's episode. He made it that much more comedical with him having to be a part of like this giant party and having to, you know, nearly kill a squid and having to do all these things made this episode that much more worth enjoying. And I do believe that again Christopher Sabat had done an amazing job with Vegeta, and to me personally it just gets you excited to see what's going to happen in the future, because with Vegeta having to fight Black, Vegeta having to fight Hit, Vegeta's showcase against Golden Frieza, it draws you in, and I cannot wait to see how Christopher Sabat is going to make Vegeta that much more badass, especially when Vegeta first becomes a Super Saiyan Blue. But needless to say guys, this episode again was very awesome. You guys can go ahead and tune into my Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and send you guys some screenshots. I'm going to send you guys some video, audio, bunch of stuff on Twitter guys, and make sure again you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel in case you guys have not, for daily Dragon Ball content guys. I'm talking about discussions, reviews, gameplays, community reaction, discussion videos, and tons of more stuff guys. For the sake of Vegeta, make sure you guys go ahead and tune back into the channel, especially for tonight. We have Dragon Ball Kai airing at midnight, so in case you guys are wondering about that, make sure to go ahead and check your local listings. But post your comments down below. What are your overall thoughts on this episode? What do you guys like and hate about this particular episode? And what are your overall expectations going into the future of Dragon Ball Super? What are some things you feel like they can improve on in terms of storytelling and plotline? Comment down below guys. Once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you guys are fans, don't forget to subscribe for all the latest in Dragon Ball news, information, updates, gameplay videos, reviews, and discussions. If you guys enjoyed the review, be sure to show your support by leaving a like down below guys. It really means a lot to me. Thank you all for watching. Tune in for more, as tonight we're going to be going on ahead and posting multiple videos on Dragon Ball alongside tomorrow, where we're going to have several discussion videos and alongside breakdowns as to what happened in tonight's Dragon Ball episode, and of course Dragon Ball Super's English dub and Dragon Ball Kai later on tonight guys. So I hope you guys tune in for that. Be sure to come back to the channel guys for more Dragon Ball, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Take it easy guys, and God bless. Peace.